welcome back. Today we got the old B24 loaded up and we are updating like crazy today. We updated the Bombay so it doesn't spin when you spawn, and now we're going to update the artwork. Let's get started! So the great thing about Stormworks is it almost gets new features every week. Unfortunately, some of those new features break old features, and some of the new features replace old features, and that's what today is. It is a combination of new features replacing old features and adding new features, if that makes any sense. So let's take a look at the new paint blocks. Alright, so if I confuse you about paint blocks, let me explain. This plane uses the old paintable block, which was, I think it was called a paintable sign, but now it is called a paintable indicator, and the new block is called a paintable sign. So if we come over here to the wing, I will show you the difference. I will put down the paintable indicator, boop, put down the paintable sign, boop, and now we have two blocks that look exactly the same. But what is different? Well, if we go into logic mode, you'll now see that the paintable sign disappears and the paintable indicator still has the backlight connection. That means you can turn this on and it will glow. So if I go into paint, and let's go ahead and paint the background black, and then grab the paint again and go to additive paint, we can do a nice glowy blue on our paintable indicator. And so we can turn that on and off with a on and off button or logic. And then if I look at the paintable sign, I can't draw on it anymore. I can't make it glow. It's terrible. But that's why we have these. But what's nice about these is now we can go ahead and put our artwork, our lovely pixelated artwork like this, on the paintable signs. And when we go into logic mode, it vanishes. And so all of this mess you see here, which is not being used, I'm not making any of these nose art elements glow, and so I don't need that extra indicator. And I don't know if it's going to help with the FPS. Maybe it does. But just as far as looking at logic, you're not going to see this mess, and you'll see only the logic that is really usable or that you're actually using. So that's kind of a nice feature if you're going to update your paint blocks on an old plane or old vehicle, because you're going to get rid of all these donuts and it's just going to look clean. And so that's what I'm going to do today. But I'm going to show you the process I went through originally to make the nose art, because I might as well while I'm updating these. And I will show you the new update that Tangent did to the tool that he created that made this possible, because without this you would have to draw all of these lovely pixels yourself. And I did it originally on the old B17 and it was a pain in the butt. But this tool makes it really easy to get a nice result and add artwork to your planes or vehicles and whatever it may be. So let's go ahead and get started in Photoshop. So here we are in Photoshop, and you can do this with any image editing program. I just happen to use Photoshop, and all I am doing is resizing graphics, tweaking the pixels by zooming in and exporting it, and then loading up to Tangent's page and getting an export. But I'm going to show you what I did to get this nose art to fit on the plane and what I went through. So when I was doing the B24, I was looking for a specific model, and I wanted nose art to go along with that model. And this is the correct model that I found for the B24 that I was building, and it happened to have this nose art that I really liked, and so I wanted to have this on the plane. So this nose art isn't exactly straight. It's actually at an angle. And so what I did is I went ahead and selected the nose art, copied it, and then I pasted it into a new document. And so if we look, she's slightly crooked. It's kind of hard to tell. She's at a very slight altered perspective. And so I just went into my tools and I tried to tweak it as best I could see by eye. It's kind of hard to tell where she's wrong. Her leg's a little bit weird. But I went ahead and played with it until I got it the way it looked. And then what I did is I started to clean up the artwork. The colors are a little bit all over the place because the picture and the lighting changed the color. And so what I did is I reduced the colors, and then I went ahead and started cleaning up the different shades so that she's all solid. And I kind of tweaked her mouth and stuff like that. Now, the problem is, as good as this looks, you're not going to get this nose art onto your plane or vehicle unless it's a very big vehicle and you're going to make large blocks. So the trick to all of this is cleaning up your nose art or cleaning up your artwork, your decal, inside your image editing program, and trying to make it into simple blocks that you can alter when you shrink it down. Now let me show you what that means. So I'm going to go ahead and turn all this off. This is my nose art before I shrink it down. So if we look, I've come in here and I've tried to do a lot more blocks. I could have done more just by going through and going black on all of these gray blocks and making it solid. So what I really want to do was what you see here with the yellow and black is make it two colors. So this should be black and skin tone and a little bit of red and red in her hair. And that is what I really want before I shrink it down. So before we resize our artwork, we need to know what space we have available. I went ahead and got rid of the nose art that was originally here just so I can show you more clearly what I mean by that. So if we want our nose art right here, we want to go ahead and find out what the height is we have available, because we have a lot of width here, so most likely we're going to resize to our height and then worry about the width after. So the height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 8 blocks high, and each one of these blocks, these paint blocks, have 9 pixels inside. So this would be 8 blocks times 9, which gives us 72 on the resolution of the height. Okay, now if you don't understand that, I'm going to show you right now what the resolution is of the image. So I'm not going to worry about the width right now because I assume that it's going to fit as long as I get my height right. If not, we can always redo it. But I'm going to go back to Photoshop and show you what happens. Okay, here we go. So here's my nose art as it is right now at 100%. If we look at the image size, it is 328 pixels wide, 251 pixels height. What that means is this is a really big image when it comes to Stormworks. So what we need to do is resize this. And so what happens when you resize an image? Well, it doesn't resize perfectly the way it looks here because you lose a lot of pixels. So it's not going to look the same. So what you end up doing is having to clean up the image and making it look the way you want before you import into Stormworks, because it's a lot easier to do it in your image editing program. Let me show you. So if I go over here and do the height to what we said, 72 pixels, it's going to resize. Whoops, let me go ahead and add the lock there. Resize it to 94 pixels wide. So now it's 72 pixels high and 94 pixels wide. I usually set it to hard edges because that keeps it pretty dark on the outlines. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So let's blow this up on the screen. Now you'll see what happened to our artwork. It looks terrible. So that doesn't look too good. I'm going to go ahead and go backwards because this image is a little bit low on the resolution there. I'm going to go ahead and resize it again. Image size 72, bicubic sharper, which says it's best for reduction. Hit OK. And now let's see what it looks like. Okay, so it looks a bit better. But if we put this on our plane right now, that's exactly what it's going to look like in the game. So if I go to 100%, that's what you're going to see in the game. You're going to see, when you walk up to a plane, this kind of artwork. So what I do is I usually get this kind of result from resizing, and then I go back and I take my little paintbrush here and I grab the skin color that I like. Let's say I like this one. Basically start drawing using the reduced image as a guide. And I can look back at my original and kind of see what it looked like. And I'll do my best to go ahead and clean up all of this artwork. I will redraw my eyes, redraw my face. So let me go ahead and show you. I'm not going to do this one because it took forever. That's why my planes take forever, because I take forever to do this kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and find my final result, which is right here. I'm going to blow this up so you can see it. And you'll see that I went back through this artwork pretty much. I think it's slightly charged size different or something like that. But I went back through here and I cleaned it up. I painted all my lines. I redid her eyes and her face. And of course I did the text on abroad. I redid that and did the dark lines. So I basically redraw and pixelate the reduced artwork into a pixelated look that kind of matches the game. Now you could go ahead and you could sometimes size something down and it looks okay. I don't like this. I would prefer that it would look more pixelated artwork, 2D, inside Stormworks and match with the look of the game than to have it with the alias and all that nice little shading that it does sometimes when you reduce images. but that's my preference. So I'm just showing you how I do it. You don't have to do it this way, but I prefer my artwork to be very pixelated and less colors. I could actually go back here if I wanted to and clean some of this up and make it a little bit less. Let's go ahead and do that. A little bit less of different colors in here, because I really don't like that. I guess I must have been tired when I did this, because usually I get rid of all those different pixel colors. But this is not bad. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this, but you get the idea. This is where you're trying to get to. And if we look at the size again, we're going to have a resolution of 72 height, 92 width. When you're done with that, you want to export your image. If you're using Photoshop, it's a PSD file. So you want to export your image to a PNG or a JPEG. And I usually put a background that I'm going for so that I can just paint it out later when I import it, and I'll show you what that looks like. But we'll go ahead, and here you see I have all this nose art. So I'm going to put clean 2. I don't even know which one this is, but we're going to put clean 2. Then we're going to go over to our web page. All right, so here is the web page. I'm going to put this link in the description below. It is Tangen's page. He made an awesome update here, which actually now has the option to have a glow file or no glow file, and this will output a file with the glow blocks and the additive paint, or it will output the paintable sign with no glow file, which means that when you import it, you're going to have the new blocks used, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and import the original nose art, how I had it, nice and cleaned up, and we're going to save it. So I went ahead and saved the nose art with no glow file, and now I'm going to go ahead and click glow, and that's going to let me choose a file. And I'm just going to go ahead and select the same file, and what we're going to do is go ahead and leave that 0. Always leave that 0 if you've scaled your artwork to where it needs to be, and go ahead and hit upload. So I just saved that file, and that file has a glow file associated with it, which is basically the same artwork, just glows. So let's go back into Stormworks. So now we have our artwork ready. We have our plane ready to receive the nose art, and what we're going to do is hit the selection tool, hit the open or load content, and now we're going to find our file that we saved. And I saved 2, so I have the broad for action no glow and the broad for action glow. We want the no glow version because that's using the paintable signs, and that doesn't have the glow file. So what's going to happen is we're not going to get that extra little donut in there. So now we move it into place and to the left here a bit and hit paste. Now it should be in place. Yep. Okay, we're going to hit the merge tool, merge it together, unclick it, and now we have our nose art on the plane. So we have some black on this side, and that's because Tangen's page keeps the resolution even on the blocks, because these blocks are 11 across and 8 down. We didn't really worry about our resolution across, so what we did is we only counted the 72 pixels down and not the pixels that would be across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If we had made our canvas size, our image size, 72 height and 99 pixels across, it would have covered all the way the blue, all the way the edge, and this would have fit perfect. But Tangen's page went ahead and added the extra black pixels to make sure that we were even on our image. So now what we do is we want to go ahead and get the paint job to match the plane. And what we're going to do is go ahead and do this. Now if I was smart, I would have used this paint color for the background and I wouldn't have to do this, but I didn't. So we're going to do this really quick just to give you an idea. So what we want to do also is we want to go ahead and get rid of the blocks that don't have artwork in there. And that's just going to make it easy on the CPU, maybe. I don't know if it really affects that much, but I always try to get rid of the extra paint blocks just in case it gives someone else a little bit of a frame rate advantage on their slower PCs. So I do that. So anyways, that is it. We go ahead and clean up our image as best we can. Oops, I did the black there. Don't want to do that. Go in here, do the blue, and then I'm going to just do this really quick and ugly just to give you an idea so I can get to the next example here. And so I'm going to go ahead and clean up this by adding the blocks. Alright, so that is the nose art on the plane, and that's updated to use the new paint blocks. You'll see it vanishes now when we go into logic mode, which is cool. Let's go ahead and real quick, let me show you what the difference is with the glow file. So this one, I just used the exact same file for the glow file, which means the whole thing is just going to glow with whatever those colors were. So I'm just going to grab this and bump it over here, hit paste, and paste it on. Now, what's nice about Tangent's page is it adds this button, and if we look, you can't hardly see it, but he's put the button so that all of these are already attached, which is so nice. Now, the only downside is the electricity is not attached. So when you do the glow file, you will have to go through and add all your electricity to each block. But the fact that he hooks a button up means that half of your job is done. And that is a wonderful thing when you're trying to do a bunch of artwork that glows, or if you're hooking up some indicators that light up when your fuel is low or your temperature is high, or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this up really quick. Alright, I did it! Yay! Okay, so there's one more thing that needs to be hooked to electricity. And that is the button. And where's the button? Where's the electricity? Oh my gosh, it's back here. Alright, so let's go ahead and spawn this guy. There we go, how lovely. Okay, let's turn to nighttime. Let's go to nighttime. Boop! It's dark. Okay, so now if I go, this is going to be ugly because the glow file was just kind of silly, but we'll hit the button. And now we get this lovely, I don't know what this looks like. Ooh, it's kind of freaky. But this is the nose art with the glow file. And of course, you would probably want to do this a lot different than I just did this, but I don't usually make nose art glow. So there you go. That is it. Again, if we go over here, you can see that the paint blocks here have all the options and the donuts, and the paintable sign, sorry, that's a paintable indicator, this is a paintable sign, it just disappears. Oops, it just disappears, which is nice. Alright, so that's it for today. I just wanted to go ahead and update the tutorial as I'm updating the planes. The bomb bay is updated now. It no longer spins around when you spawn this plane. And now we're getting the nose art updated, and maybe that will save you a few frames if you're having trouble with this plane and frame rate. Don't know, but if you have any trouble or questions about nose art resizing, let me know in the comments below or hit up my Discord, and I'll be happy to help you. That's it for today. I can actually take off in a plane today.
Oh, seriously, I don't know how this thing starts anymore. It's been too long. It has full cutoff. I knew that. I knew that. What am I missing? What am I missing? Pitch. Oh, dear. Yay! I actually got away. See you next time.